Hey, girlfriend, are you ready for a new ism based on love and friendship? Welcome to Girlfriendism. Hey, girlfriends. It is your girlfriend, Dr. K, and I would love to welcome you to another episode of our Girlfriendism YouTube channel. So today's episode is about this very simple statement. If you struggle with women and girlfriends in your life, you may be lacking this one thing. And it may hurt just a little bit, but there's good news at the end. But the one thing that you may be lacking that is contributing to your poor relationships with women or your inability to maintain girlfriends is that you may lack emotional intelligence. So I wrote a blog about this the other day and posted this for one of our Monday manifestations about the importance of emotional intelligence in maintaining friendships. So I wanted to dive into this a little bit more. So here's what I want to give you as a disclaimer. There is good news at the end. So if you find that the descriptors of someone who has poor emotional intelligence represents you, I don't want you to be discouraged as you look at this video. I want you to look at the entire video towards the end so you can learn about the 7 habits of emotionally intelligent people and how you can turn around your experiences with women and with friendships overall. So let's start out with what is emotional intelligence. So according to Help Direct, and this has also been echoed by Harvard, Very Well Mind, and Mental Health America, is that emotional intelligence, also known as EQ, so this is different from the intelligence as we typically talk about it, right? IQ, this is EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to release stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Now, I'm going to read this again because I want girlfriends to understand this key component. I'm going to share with you what I typically observe with women who struggle with friendships. Okay. So I'm going to read this again. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand. So I'm going to pause here for a second because I think what most women do, and this can apply to men as well, emotionally unintelligent people, they can recognize an emotion, but they don't understand the emotion, nor do they take the time to process what that emotion means or where it may derive from. Okay. So it's the ability to understand, use. So even for those who may have some understanding of why someone may behave or respond in a certain way, they don't then use their knowledge about or from that understanding to inform how they in turn are going to respond. And oftentimes we still react, right? So it's the ability to understand, use, and here is the biggest part, manage your own emotions, right? Your own emotions. Now, why do I emphasize that? What I find with so many women, especially when they're experiencing conflict with other women, instead of them trying to manage their own emotions, they're always trying to manage the emotions, responses, language, and behaviors of someone else. And as long as you are a person who wants to manage everyone else's emotions but your own, you're going to constantly find yourself being miserable. Because, honey child, the only person that you can control at the end of the day is you. Okay. So, how can we get to a place where we learn how to understand, use, and manage our own emotions and not try to micromanage the emotions of others, right? In ways that help us to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, right? But I've got to tell you, girlfriends, being the founder and CEO of a business called Girlfriendism International is not the easiest task in the world. And here is why. It requires emotional intelligence every Jesus day. Okay? So, as the founder of Girlfriendism, does it mean that women don't piss me off? Hell to the nah, nah, nah. People get on my nerves, okay? Does it mean that I don't recognize behaviors that can be detrimental or even language that may be spewed at me or other women with the intent to hurt them? Nope. Doesn't mean that I think, oh, women are just wonderful, floral, perfect. We should just accept them as they are. I do think we should accept them as they are because, again, we can't control other people. But it does not mean that I am blinded, ignorant, or naive to the fact that there are women who struggle with emotional intelligence and therefore may struggle with the ways that they communicate with other women, talk about other women, or engage with other women. However, because I aim to be emotionally intelligent every day, right? It's like a muscle that you exercise at the gym. You have to be intentional about exercising these tips that I'm going to share with you to be emotionally intelligent. Because I am intentional about that, right? Instead of me being upset with women when they don't do the things that I think they should do, or instead of me becoming jealous of women because they may have something that I have, but I don't yet have it, or instead of me hating on another woman because she has a different perspective, I actually tap into that emotional intelligence. Hey, girlfriend, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. Let me ask you, do you feel that you struggle with emotional intelligence? If so, consider booking our virtual wellness program. We have affordable wellness and empowerment experiences where you can manifest with girlfriends, and also an elite wellness experience where you can unlock your potential and manifest your dreams with exclusive coaching from me, your girlfriend, Dr. K. Just simply click on the link in this video after the video and get more information. Our next program starts in February. To foster empathy for her and think about what would cause her to behave this way. I also tap into emotional intelligence to help me have the wisdom to know when to communicate and sometimes when not to communicate. And I also tap into my emotional intelligence to be aware of dynamics when there are multiple women involved. And instead of me adding to conflict, tapping into that emotional intelligence so I can use that information around me, right? And understand the emotions of the people around me to help me navigate a situation that could potentially become more tense and utilize that intelligence to diffuse conflict and to remedy situations. And let me tell you, as a woman who travels with about 27 plus women every other year for the annual Girlfriendism retreat, emotional intelligence, if I ever forget its importance in day-to-day life, I am so beautifully reminded during these trips, right? As I'm managing different personalities, different opinions, different suggestions, different ways of being, having to manage that and still be the person who can aim to understand each person's perspective and respond in a way that is actually beneficial. It is so key. Okay, so I have my notes here because I found an article from Very Well Mind that I thought really tapped into the 7 habits of emotionally intelligent people. And that's what I want us to go over today. Because again, the good news is if you found that historically you are the common denominator in your friendships, or in your inability to maintain positive friendships with women, this is possibly a wake-up call, right? This is possibly an opportunity for you to take a moment to really reflect and look within, not thinking about the other women and what they did wrong and what they should have changed and how you feel about that, but to really take this moment to reflect on what could I have done differently? Because remember, it takes two to tango. And so, yes, while you will encounter relationships with women in this lifetime where they may have just been downright trifling, y'all, it still takes two to tango, where you enabling the triflingness, where you silent about the triflingness. If you did communicate, were you judgmental about the triflingness? All of that is where you co-create friendships. So because we can't control other people, emotional intelligence is one of those intelligences, because there are multiple intelligences, that's another live. But emotional intelligence is one of those areas where you can take your power back from relationships and friendships with other women that may not have had the outcome that you wanted to have. You can reclaim that power by making these changes with these 7 habits. So let's dive into it. Okay, so we spoke about what is emotional intelligence. So I'm going to read this quote that I absolutely love from Aristotle. He's a philosopher, and I love philosophy. That is what I have my PhD in. It's a PhD in advanced studies in human behavior, and it's a doctor of philosophy. He said, anyone can become angry. Anyone. That's easy. Okay, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person to the right degree at the right time for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not easy. And what I love about this, when I think about our day-to-day interactions with women, so many girlfriends who don't understand that may look at this video and say, oh, she's fake, or oh, she's not real, right? Or girlfriends who are practicing emotional intelligence, they may look at them and cast these judgments. Why? Well, they're not emotionally intelligent. So people tend to judge what they're not, and people tend to judge what they don't understand. So what my hope for this video is, if you find yourself on the lines of, yeah, but, listen to this thoroughly, truly evaluate yourself, and then look at your history with women, with your daughters, with your mother, with your aunties, with other women in the workplace, and be honest with yourself. Have I encountered over and over again an issue here? And take your power back, take it away from casting it outwards, bring it inwards to see, how can I make that change? Okay. So one of the first things is being self-aware. So in the beginning, when we spoke about the definition of EQ, it's being able to manage one's emotions. So listen here, you can't manage emotions that you're not even aware of. And that's what happens when people react, right? We're finding ourselves in a situation, perhaps with a girlfriend or just another woman who we may or may not know, and they say something or do something, and we feel a type of way. But instead of us pausing to assess, well, why do I feel this way in this moment? And if I'm able to identify how I'm feeling, whether it's angry, intimidated, uncertain, jealous, right, insecure, whatever that feeling is, then being able to take it a step further and say, does this emotion actually belong to her? Is it that she is causing or contributing to this emotion? Or is this maybe a trigger from something that occurred before I even met her, right? And then understanding that because we have the power over our emotions, no one can actually cause those emotions. They can simply be a prophet that is here to show us something about ourselves. But we can't do that unless we're self-aware. And so one of the ways that we have to be self-aware is taking a moment to pause. Anytime an emotion comes up, it's not there for us to react on it. It's there for us to inform us about a particular situation in that moment in time. And it tells us something about ourselves, whether it's, I don't feel comfortable in this space right now, whether it is that this person actually represents some qualities that I don't have, but I want to have them. And I just don't know how to respond to them in this moment, right? So, psychologist and author Daniel Goleman identifies self awareness as one of the key components of emotional intelligence. It involves the ability to recognize moods, emotions, and feelings. And part of that is not just understanding your emotions, but how it influences other people and the environment around you. And so I think this is so key because one of the things that we've been really successful in doing with Girlfriendism is doing what we call creating safe spaces. And we create those safe spaces not because we're telling women how to behave. Nope, we don't do that. Not because I'm just understanding my emotions, but also understanding how my mood, my emotions are going to impact my behaviors, my disposition, my energy, and then how that impacts the other people around me as well. And so there is that saying sometimes when we go to work where people say, leave your personal issues at the door before coming in. Well, that's easier said than done, right? Because we don't bring a part of ourselves to our work environment and we don't bring part of ourselves to our girlfriends either. We bring our whole selves, whether we think we do or don't, whether we intend to or don't, we bring our whole selves. And so we have to understand that when we do that, it has an influence on other people. So what that means is, does it mean that we don't bring our whole selves? No. But when we're aware, if I'm having a bad day, if I am really stressed out, it helps me if I'm aware of that so I can know how I need to interact with my girlfriends. So my girlfriends may be interested in going out or doing something later. If I'm really stressed out because I'm writing a grant or maybe having financial challenges, whatever that is, I know that my energy, if I'm not able to check that before going out, then I'm not going to go. And I'm also not going to be upset with my girlfriends because I can't go. I'm going to practice open communication, which is another one of those EQ characteristics to say, hey, girlfriends, I really appreciate you inviting me. I'm not in the best mood today, and I want you all to have the best time ever. And so I'm sending my love to you. I'm going to take this time to just kind of regulate myself. So self-awareness is key. And one of the best ways to put that into practice is pause. Not everything deserves a response. Sometimes it just deserves your own attention to your own emotions. So then the next is empathy. So empathy is something that, people talk about it so often. I don't even know that they know what it means. Just like people call people a friend, they don't really know what that means. Or they say, I love you. They don't really know what that means, right? It sounds really good. But doggone it, what is empathy really? Well, I'm going based on this article from Very Well Minds, which I'm going to share in the comments. It's an excellent reference, which I'm using to kind of guide this YouTube channel, YouTube episode, is that empathy involves the ability to understand the emotions of other people. And this is where I find a lot of women are challenged because one, they're so self-centered and self-absorbed in their own feelings that one, they don't even pause to understand why they're feeling that way, much less take the time to understand why someone else may feel the way that they feel. And so there is also this other saying, and I may screw this up, but it's something to the effect where you can be the hero in someone's story and you can be the villain in another's, right? Well, understanding that people are going to receive you differently, they're going to interpret you differently, and that is okay. That's neither villain nor hero. That's just human behavior, right? Because our experiences shape our perception. And there are so many women who their experiences are just riddled with trauma, riddled with abandonment, riddled with neglect, riddled with miscommunication, that they go into the world and they navigate through the world as if every single woman is this way, or as every single person is this way. That is their own trauma to unfold. Yes. But guess what? As a girlfriend, it is also something that when I pause, I have the opportunity to see this woman in front of me as a human being and to just have empathy that whatever may cause her to respond in a way that may not be favorable to what I think I deserve, but understanding that, you know what, this is not even about me right now. This is about her own triggers. This is about her own past. And this is why she sees the world that she sees it. All I can do, and particularly this is what I say as a founder of Girlfriendism, is to embody something different in the hopes that women like her can see that there is a different reality, right? And even sometimes we have to do this for ourselves. We don't have empathy for ourselves. Let me give you a really quick example because I can probably do an episode on each of these things. So I'm going to be mindful about time. But I had sat down and watched episodes, right? Or watched television or movies with other women where, the woman may have gotten her heart broken by a guy or another woman, right? And a woman would say, well, that's her fault. She's stupid. She should have known better, right? That is such an unfortunate circumstance because I always think to myself, wow, as a woman, I've been hurt before by men and women alike. So why wouldn't I take a moment to understand what that character is feeling? Why wouldn't I take a moment to empathize with her, knowing that I have gone through those very same emotions? Why would I judge her, label her as stupid, say that she should have known better, when I too have had to walk through my own experiences to know what better even meant? So empathy, these are the qualities that are so important. But listen, sometimes people can't empathize for other people because they don't even empathize for themselves. Hey girlfriends, we hope that you're enjoying this video's message. If so, join us for the continuation with part 2 next week. There's so much more in store and we can't wait to share it with you. That's all for now, girlfriends. Let's stay connected and subscribe for more at www.girlfriendism.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.